Hey guys, welcome back to our basement remodel. In the last several videos, you saw us build some canning shelves, repaired the floors that were weak or saggy by adding in new floor joists up against the old ones. Then we replaced the main beam that's holding up this part of the house that was severely damaged and weakened by one of the previous owners of this house, and then put in a few posts to help support it as well. Then we worked on straightening up all the wiring and installed new canless LED lights that take up very little headspace. And then in the last video, we worked on fixing up the walls, the cinder block walls on the outside, as well as the sheetrock interior walls, getting those prepped, ready for paint. And that leads us to today's video. We're going to be painting. First, I need to tape everything off. I'm going to be spraying the ceiling as well as the walls with a paint sprayer that's going to cause a lot of overspray, so I need to make sure everything's covered. We're going to be redoing the floor in the next video, so I don't want any paint on the floor because I don't want to have to clean that off later. And then anything else that I don't want overspray on, I'm going to cover with plastic and tape as well. Now I'm also going to cover up any openings, doorways leading to the rest of the house. I don't want the fumes or the overspray to spread. I want to stay isolated in here, so I'm going to do my best to seal this room off from everything else. Now on the front end with spraying, this takes a lot of extra time taping everything off and putting up plastic, but it saves a lot of time spraying instead of painting by hand. If you're trying to paint by hand, especially when you get to these exposed floor joists, it's a lot of area to cover, a lot of wires and obstacles in the way, which makes spraying so much faster in this case. Now while I'm finishing off the taping, getting everything ready, don't forget to hit that like button down below or let me know what you guys think in the comments. That really helps me out a lot and helps YouTube know that this is a good video worth recommending to other people. Now I've got everything taped off and I'm ready to start painting, but before I can do that, I need to remove these lights in here. I didn't want to do it too soon or else I'd have a lot harder time putting all the plastic and tape up. So now that I have that done, I'm gonna unplug these, remove them. They're very easy to take out and then put back in. So I'll just remove those while I'm painting and then put them back up. All right, now that the lights are out of this room, it's going to be pretty dark. So I've got a couple battery lights here that I'm going to be using. I've covered those in plastic and tape because I don't love the look of my tools being completely covered in paint. So I'm just going to protect those a little bit with plastic. I've got a respirator here, a paint suit that I'm going to be wearing, and then some safety glasses. The paint suit hood didn't quite fit, so I'm wearing a hoodie sweatshirt underneath, a hat, and some gloves just to try to keep as much overspray as possible off of me, because doing this you'll get completely covered. This little paint sprayer works amazing. I've used this on so many different projects. I'll leave the link down below, but this thing is a little bit of an investment, but doing projects like this makes it go so much faster and it's a lot easier. You don't have to keep refilling the paint sprayer. It works right off of the 5-gallon buckets of paint. And so this project actually ended up using pretty close to 5 gallons, so I didn't have to refill it or change it out. I could just keep painting right on through. Now, one thing I didn't catch in my video, before I started painting, I went through with a broom and made sure there weren't any cobwebs left. I just swept through here. You might also want to take an air compressor or a leaf blower and blow off the floor joist. If there's dust, it may end up messing up the paint job. And I noticed as I was painting, I started with one wall first and then went to the ceiling, and it still blew off a little bit of dust and debris, and it was sticking to that freshly painted wall. So what I'm gonna do instead is paint the ceiling first, let all the dust settle to the ground before painting the walls. That way, anything that blows off of the ceiling doesn't immediately stick to the wall. Now after the first coat, it took about 45 minutes or so to apply. I'm gonna wait a few hours to let this dry and then come back and do a second coat, because right away I started noticing some of the wood absorb the paint faster than others, so there's still some exposed wood. I want to try to get that a little bit more even, so one more coat should do it. And on this second coat, I'm not trying to cover as much. The first one I put on nice and thick so that it would absorb into the wood and hopefully cover as best as it can. But this time I'm really more focusing on the dark spots, the parts that didn't cover very well, and the rest I'm giving a nice thin coat over top. Alright, that finishes up the second coat. I'm going to let this fully dry before coming back and taking off all of the plastic and revealing what this looks like. Now that it's dry, I'm going to come in and first install the lights so we can see what we're doing in here a lot better, and then we'll start taking down the plastic. Now the lights are up, it's time to take down the plastic, and this goes a lot faster than putting it up in the first place. You'll just want to make sure that you take off all the paper tape. Sometimes it's a bit harder to tell once it's all painted what's tape and what's just a painted surface, but you'll want to keep an eye on that. But it's going to look really nice when we start taking off some of this plastic. Once the walls were painted, it really makes the floor look even worse than it did before. So we're gonna come back in the next video and work on pressure washing and cleaning this floor and doing a new skim coat of concrete over top of this and sealing it and making it look a whole lot nicer. So stay tuned for that video coming up. But here's what the basement looks like when it's all painted. All the paint has dried now, the plastic has been taken down, the lights are up, and we're ready to move on to the floor in the next video. But this looks so nice. We love how this looks. Having a lighter ceiling really helps brighten up the space and make it feel bigger. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.